Something that is very exciting to talk about right now is Loki. The sixth and final episode of the first season of Loki has just debuted on Disney+, and I just got finished watching it, just got finished having my mind blown by what was a terrific climax, a great send-off for this, yes, first season. So spoilers, there's going to be more Loki. And more spoilers, we got our first look at the brand new Kang the Conqueror, who is played by Jonathan Majors, who does a great job. He's definitely showy, and he was chewing up all kinds of scenery. But man, it was really hard to take your eyes off of his monologue and his explanation of all of these different things that he has been doing behind the scenes. He's been watching Sylvie and Loki go through all of their events throughout the course of the season, watching them understand this idea of variance and all of these crisscrossing paths across the timeline, understanding that they are just infinitesimal parts of the multiverse out there. Majors just delivered an amazing kind of sense of his omnipotence and his power. It was a great way to wrap everything up. It was also incredibly touching and emotional as well, because clearly Sylvie and Loki have such very, very strong feelings for each other, and over the course of 6 episodes, we've really gotten a chance to see that evolve in a human way, you know? This is a talky show. This is what I've really kind of recognized about this season of Loki, and it's what makes these Marvel shows, these Marvel Studios productions on Disney Plus really quite special, because, you know, usually, like in Black Widow, which I'm going to be talking about very soon here on the rundown, there are these huge epic action set-piece sequences that sort of tie everything together, and we know the buildup is boom, 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 huge fight, huge CG spectacle. And, you know, WandaVision sort of played with that formula quite a bit. The Falcon and the Winter Soldier started off with a giant bang and an amazing stunt sequence and a beautiful visual effects sequence, but then we get some time to live with these characters, and Loki, I think, even leaned into that in a bigger way. Yes, there were some fantastical elements and some apocalyptic moments and scenes, and a giant time and space-eating smoke monster that we had to see, and also all of these varietals of different Loki creations. For the most part, there was a lot of time conversing and characters having a chance to kind of show their dramatic chops and their alliances to each other or their betrayals of each other. It never forgets that this is superhero cinema, you know, and that everybody's a little larger than life, and there are powers and there are some battles and stuff, but there are some really cool, dramatic, and human beats all the way through, especially seeing it reflected on Tom Hiddleston, who has always been really fun on screen, but his character, even though he's duplicitous, has been kind of, you know, one note, very selfish, very sort of motivated by what's in it for him in all of the movie appearances. And in this show, we get to see that maybe there's more to this character. Maybe he's not just this woe-begotten, feeling sorry for himself, will stop at nothing for love and attention kind of caricature that he has been having fun with in previous incarnations of Loki. In this one, we see that he is very empty inside, and he's been searching, and he's been, wanting some real connection and love, and I think he has discovered that in this variation of himself, which is so funny, right? Because he's so self-serving. Of course, the person that he has legitimate feelings for is a version of himself, which is very interesting and very Freudian. But it also was very human in the case of this character. So it was very fun to watch that relationship evolve over time. We get some more with Mobius. We get a little bit more of his motivations in the TVA. We also get to sort of unravel more of the secret of the TVA. It was all crafted by Kang to help to guide and steer the one true timeline, and to try to cut off all of the, derivations and deviations that were out there, and let the giant sort of smoke monster eat all of these rogue elements that exist across the multiverse. And I also really enjoyed, through the use of very clever CG exposition technology, we get a sense of the scale of this multiverse battle. There is like a more benevolent version of Kang who tries to take out all of the evil and demonic versions and variations of Kang across the multiverse. In lieu of us seeing those dramatic battles, which is probably stuff that we're going to start to see in the new Spider-Man movie that's coming out later this year, and the next Doctor Strange film, because I think this multiverse is going to play such a huge part in where we're going with this, and so will Kang. But Kang got to kind of demonstrate a sampling of that with some cool CG work on his desk over top of his monologue. It was like a three-hander stage sequence in that moment there with Tom Hiddleston and Sophia Di Martino and Jonathan Majors, and they're all such competent actors. There was a little CG sort of embellishment there to push the plot forward and to build up some excitement and stuff. But it was really their work and their way with words and their truth in those moments that played so convincingly. This was a fantastic puzzle piece. It was almost like an X-Files across the cosmos kind of mystery, like who done it, who created the TVA and what's really happening and what are all of these branches in the timeline, where is this all leading? And of course it's building to more, but I think the great reveal at the end of Kang, but also that there's more Loki coming and that the ramifications, like there's going to be another season of Loki, which is so exciting, but the ramifications of this across the MCU, which is punctuated by the opening sequence over the titles with all kinds of voice recordings from previous entries in the MCU. It was brilliant. I mean, it really shows that all of these moments have been observed and they're all leading to something really mega and really massive, and of course it's all connected. I felt like Loki has been a little bit of a slow burn, and I still do. I still feel like it's definitely not as flashy as what WandaVision, even though there's lots of magical powers and stuff, it's not as flashy as WandaVision was with all of its different time-bending sitcom variations, and it wasn't maybe as thrilling and punchy and dynamic as The Falcon and the Winter Soldier was. It's incredibly satisfying. Wow, what a great series this Loki show is, and my hats are off to all of the creative people that had to build all of these sets and all of these different worlds for our characters to visit with limitations that you can see, but they did a really, really wonderful job. It's such great bridge content too to where the MCU goes now, and that was, I think, part of the reason why this was crafted. I'm so excited that we're getting more Loki, but more from the threads that are being laid and so effectively laid by this first season. Absolutely loved it. I think WandaVision is my favorite MCU Marvel Studios show so far, then Loki, and then The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. But Loki is incredible. And another massive, massive shout out for the music in this series, which is just marvelous. No pun intended. You really, really need to get caught up on Loki if you haven't been watching it, but I'm sure you've watched this review and I've spoiled a bunch of stuff, and I think you probably are watching it and you're probably as happy as I am, but let me know in the comments down below. I'm going to give the Loki television show an 8.5 out of 10, and I cannot wait for more.